Namaste. My name is Dr. Raichur. I am a teacher of physiology. I am teaching this physiology subject in a medical college since long. Over the period of years, I have come to know this syllabus has to be revamped because when I am teaching physiology of respiratory system, the anatomy people will be teaching the thorax, and sometimes they will be teaching about the abdomen, and the biochemistry people will be talking on the metabolism. Now the student is very much disintegrated and he is confused because there is no correlation between all these subjects. So is there any need for integration of all these subjects into one? For example, can we have a blockwise system like a cardiovascular block? In this cardiovascular block, the anatomy person will come and talk on the anatomy of the heart, followed by the physiology person will come and talk about the conductive system of the heart. Then the medicine person will come and talk on the electrocardiogram. Then the pathology person will talk on the atherosclerosis, etc. In this way, everything concerned with the cardiovascular system will be completed in one stretch, and the students have a better understanding about the cardiovascular system. So what has happened in our traditional system, there is a disintegration because different subjects are taught in a different way. And by the course-wise system or by integrated system, we can even reduce the overlapping or repetition of the subject. For example, I teach on the cerebrospinal fluid in the physiology. Even the anatomy person teaches the same thing, cerebrospinal fluid, in the anatomy. Even the biochemistry person talks a little about the cerebrospinal fluid analysis. What is happening? The course of first MBBS has been reduced over the years to only 1 year. Earlier it was 1.5 years, and the time is short. Can we avoid this repetition and teach what is required by the student in a better way, in a better understanding way? So there is a need for integrated system of teaching, which has been adopted in different countries already. Second thing, what we are teaching is more or less a teacher-centered teaching. We come and talk in our didactic lectures. Most of it is not retained by the student. Why not go for a student-centered learning? The student-centered learning, the students makes all the effort to learn and the teacher acts as a facilitator. So let us see how this is going to work. Now my question is, when we learn? The answer is, we learn when there is a problem. So only when we come across with a problem, we try by our great efforts to solve the problem, to look into the problem. Likewise, if a problem-based learning is adopted in the medical field, then the student is going to learn in a better way. I'll just give an example. There will be a group of 10 students and a facilitator will be there. To the student on the first day, a trigger is given. The trigger may be in the form of a case history. The students, they are going to look into this case scenario, which acts as a trigger for their mental activities, and they are going to solve that particular case. Now, many of the audience may be non-medical, so let me give an example of a non-medical scenario. I'll just give a trigger which is not medical one. Mr. Rahul was driving, who was aged 17 years, was driving a Maruti 800 car on the highway which was of 2001 model. The car suddenly jerked and stopped. Now let us think this as a trigger. Let us give it to the students or the spectators. Now from this trigger, what we have to do is we have to find the keywords. Now what are the keywords here? A 17-year boy is a keyword. Second, Maruti 800 is a keyword. 2001 model is a keyword. Jerked and stopped is another keyword. So now we are going to list all these keywords on a whiteboard. Then for each keyword we are going to find what we should learn, which are now called as learning objectives. Let us say the first keyword was 17-year-old boy. What learning issues will be there from this 17-year-old boy? Now we are going to ask in the learning objectives, or we are going to list in the learning objectives, that what is the minimum age required to get the driving license. Then the second keyword was Maruti 800. Now we are going to list the learning objective as what do you mean by 800, whether it is 800cc and what do you mean by 800cc. Then the third keyword was 2001 model. Third learning objective or learning issue will be what are the problems with an old car which is 15 or 16 years old. Then the next keyword was the car jerked and stopped. Now we are going to list a learning objective as what are the causes for jerky cars? What are the causes for car suddenly stopping? Now we are going to study, means the students are going to study all these questions or all these learning objectives either by going to the library or referring the internet, and they are going to discuss each other. Then they are going to finally come into a conclusion. They are going to form a hypothesis. That hypothesis could be a old car with engine problems, or it may be anything related to that. So the same thing I am going to explain how the medical students are going to do this. They list the keywords from a case scenario. Then for each keywords they are going to find the learning objectives, and from all these they are going to form a hypothesis. Finally they come into the conclusion, that is the diagnosis. Now here the problem based learning is conducted in a group of 10 students, and for each 10 students there will be a facilitator. The facilitator is going to just guide the students. He is not going to teach them. Here the students are going to learn on their own. So this type of learning will be retained for a longer time. Hence I feel there is a need for students-centered learning nowadays, so that the students makes more effort and the teacher acts as a facilitator. Thank you.